Hey, Tile friends. Welcome back to another Hump Day Financials with Drake Van Hull. How are you doing, Drake?
Doing awesome, man. Beautiful day.
Excellent. Well, this Hump Day Financials is brought to you by Performance Financial LLC, which Drake is the CEO over there. He is a certified CPA, licensed CPA, and he offers his services, bookkeeping, advising, and as well as, tax prep to my audience. And if you need a consultation, hit up the link in the show notes. So Drake, I'm really glad you're joining me today. It's December, and one of the things I'm actually doing in TileMoney is my year-end review. I'm just looking at kind of the progress we made, some of the challenges we've had, and how to improve on those, and how to keep doing the things that are working and keep making forward momentum. And I want to encourage my audience to really do their own company year-end review right now. You might find yourself with a few extra days. I hate to break it to you, but you gotta put in a little more work here to prepare yourself for 2023.
Yep. I haven't done this great for me. This is something that's been on my mind. And I think, I've heard this from a lot of people too. I think what's tough is it's really, really easy to look forward and go, that what happened, right? And just kind of brush it off. And it's really, I keep hearing from everybody, we don't want to make decisions till January. Let's talk about that in the new year. And I think that's really easy to do because I think it's hard to self-reflect, and it doesn't always feel as productive to self-reflect. Mm-hmm. And the other thing too is I think people forget a lot of their accomplishments that they've done. Mm-hmm. So like one of ours, we hit a few of our goals this year, and there's a part of me that's like, man, you should be really ecstatic. Those were a little bit of a stretch goal for you, and they were like really cool that you accomplished those before year end. And part of me is like, I'm going way bigger next year. It's tough to reflect and because it's tough to pat yourself on the back, and it's easy to dwell on the negative and not think back to the positive. I used to work for a CPA firm, and I don't know, have you ever heard of the book Traction or anything like that, Luke?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I've listened to it, and I'm about to read the physical copy here.
So it was our Bible at the firm I used to work for. Mm-hmm. I mean, we lived it to a T. The meetings were all structured that way. We had a firm. They had it's like a 10-year picture that breaks down to a quarterly goal setting thing. The company had one. Each department had one. And then each office had, it broke down all the way to the granular level of each individual person had one. And what always bothered me is we were so eager to plan for the next quarter or the next 3 years or the next 5, whatever it was on kind of the sheet that they give you. But we never took any time to actually reflect on, okay, did we hit the goals that we set last quarter or last year for the last, there's no time ever spent on that. And that's easy to do. I think it's always easy to look ahead. It's kind of difficult to go look at what did we do last year and how do we compare some of that. So I'd love to hear kind of your process. What's it looking like for you guys to kind of do some of your year-end review?
Yeah, no, thanks. For us right now, what I'm doing is kind of gathering information, gathering numbers, gathering all the numbers and just organizing them nice and neat, and kind of looking at some of the jobs we were able to do, right, and examining each one, what went right and what went wrong. And for me, as a media company, that looks different than a contractor. I did some physical jobs though, and I do some digital jobs for different sponsors and different companies. And so I'm able to examine those and really pick them apart. And you're right, it's not easy. It's really difficult. And one of the things though that is helping me is just to remove emotion from it. And it's very emotional for business owners, isn't it? Like we get caught up in our own emotions because it's our baby, and especially when the baby's only 4 years old, it's still this kind of awkward thing that's, starting to run, maybe starting to get some traction. But we're so tied to it. And so one of the things that's helped me on that level is just to attempt to remove myself and look at it from if this was somebody else, if TileMoney LLC was somebody else, just an acquaintance, and they were asking me, they were paying me even. So I almost have to think like somebody is paying me to do this year-end review, and it's a good job, and just really psych myself up to dive into it, because you're right. There's some things that you're always going to find to improve on, right? But I am like you, Drake. The best things I forgot about.
I know, it's weird. I don't know. There's some psychology behind that I'm not aware of, but it clearly must exist.
It's strange. And so the best things you forget about, and you hang on to the negative things. I was watching something the other day that really drove that point home. And it's a human, I think, nature just to do that,
for sure.
And maybe some of the negative things just leave a bigger impact on us. And the positive things, it's almost like, well, we got to keep going. Like you said, I did this positive thing. I'm ready to do the next thing right away. Right away, we're so eager to do the next thing and the next best thing. And so I think the year-end review for me and TileMoney really reassured me that we've made such good ground in so many areas, right? And so I think as a contractor, it can be the same way. What worked, take it job by job if you have to. That may or may not be doable for all size companies. You could take it quarter by quarter. You could do all kinds of different things, right? What do you see contractors? What advice do you give contractors when they're looking at the numbers, at least?
Yeah. So honestly, I don't love year-end reviews. If that's the only review you've done for the entire year. I like to be much more proactive, and you guys probably heard me talk about, walking into your boss's office after you screwed, for your annual review, and they go, you screwed up 9 months ago. And I go, well, why didn't you tell me 9 months ago? Why, I could have fixed it then. From a year-end perspective, though, what I really like is just the holistic perspective, not so much like dive deep into your numbers. Like, this is where goal setting is huge, right? Like, did you set goals for the year, and where are you at with those goals, right? Like, hey, you wanted to hit X amount of dollars in revenue. Did you? Like, it's a yes or no. It's not the economy. It's we lost somebody. It's yes or no, right? Like, that's your year end. Like, that's part of your review process. And I love what you said there, is kind of taking out yourself from it, looking as if you were the consultant going, hey, how did this company do? From an acquaintance, or from, you don't even know somebody. You'll never be able to do that. But like, having that mindset a little bit is huge, because it's really tough to be, what I found just in the businesses I've ran and contacted with, is you are usually your own worst enemy. And it's easy to let go of mistakes that you made because you're in charge. Like, when you run the ship and nobody's holding you accountable, it's pretty easy to kind of move some of those targets and go, wow, this happened and this, and, it wasn't necessarily our fault why we didn't hit some of these. And that's where I think, like, taking some of that emotion out of it and just being like, we didn't hit this, or we did hit this. Congratulations. Make sure your team knows. Like, this is where, when you're a sole operator, you can get away with doing some of that. But boy, if you got a team behind you and you're not congratulating them or making sure you're sharing some of those wins, I know that can sound a little weird sometimes, but you better make sure that they know that they're appreciated, either through compensation or that you have talked to them that they are appreciated, because they will find somewhere else really quick when you are meeting or hitting some of those targets and you're not telling them thank you for that. Like, that's not a fun place to be as a business owner. And so I think some of that too is just really good to share with the team, to make sure people are aware of it, but also it kind of sets your culture. Like, hey, when we do things, we evaluate their outcomes, and so I always tell everybody, if you're 400 pounds and you want to lose weight, you don't go to the fat guy and go, how do we lose weight? And if you're a small business and you want to be a big business, you don't do what the other small businesses do that have been around for 10 years and they're a one or two guy operator. You go look at the giant businesses. What do? Right? Yeah. You model the masters, and they're evaluating decisions made. Right. And so I say that tongue in cheek because I'm not always the best at it, but it's something that I'm actively trying to get better at. And so maybe a goal. And again, here's where the next year comes into play all the time, but maybe that could be a simple goal. Hey, we do quarterly evaluations.
Yeah.
How are things going? We do monthly, whatever it is, right? Whatever makes sense for your organization. But to make that, ultimately, it just comes down to, hey, are we hitting metrics? Are we doing things that we're supposed to be doing? Are our customers happy with the outcome that they get, right? Evaluating those things, that's what ultimately helps the business grow and get better.
I like it. It's very true. You know, I like that bit about setting the company culture, you know, and these are all things that we should be doing from day one before you employ someone, right? Before you employ someone, you need to kind of have this company culture in your mind and really embody that. And then, you know, just holding yourself accountable. That's a great illustration, you know, to help keep ourselves accountable and not really brush this off as, hey, I can do whatever I want, because if that's the culture we're setting within ourselves, you know, it's going to be problematic. And
that's where I found groups like this are so impactful, is their built-in accountability. Like, as much as you want them to be, right? If you want to actively share your issues and what you're trying to go for, and then I go, hey, how are things going? Or did you hit this goal? You can either lie to me or be real and accountable about it if you didn't hit that, right? Like, and lying to me isn't going to help you out ultimately, but you can do it if you want. I'm probably not going to call you on that, but you're creating this accountability inside of a group like this. And that it's really tough to be accountable to yourself, because between your own ears, you can lie to yourself really, really easily. If any of you have tried to lose weight and haven't successfully done it, you can see how it's pretty easy to just, all you got to do is put the fork down and go out for a walk. Like, I'll simplify it really, but like, it's pretty tough to just do some of that sometimes. So get involved with people like this. If you're hearing this, like, go talk to people, create some friendships, find a mentor that can help you out. But accountability is so big when you run your own business, to have other people that'll put you in check. I always tell everybody, I have really good friends that I hang out with all the time in Des Moines, but my best friends that I've ever made in my life are the ones that go, hey, Drake, you're screwing up here. Like, a friend is, they probably won't say anything. A really good friend will go, hey, this isn't making sense. You know, you shouldn't be doing things this way. And that accountability is huge.
Yeah. I love it. And I'm going to throw my hat in the ring here and say, you know, I'm going to hold myself accountable, because I'm about halfway through my year-end review. And I'm going to say right now, this is Wednesday the 14th when this is coming out, you know, by next week, you know, give or take a couple days here, I'm going to present it publicly, TileMoney LLC's year-end review, and we're going to go over it publicly, and we're just going to have some fun with it. But we're also going to look at, and because as a media company, I really feel like getting everybody involved and getting some feedback, it's really going to project my ability to do more of what's working and you know, help people understand kind of some of our objectives that maybe I haven't expressed clearly. So I'm gonna hold myself accountable here right now and take you up. And the other cool thing I wanted to mention before I let you go, Drake, is thinking about this tip. And you just gave a tip. You know, instead of waiting for December 20th to do your year-end review, just start doing it quarter by quarter. And that's like, you know, how do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. So take it one bite at a time. If you did a quarter, you might be able to evaluate every single job within a relatively, you know, short amount of time, and then really start to get a really clear picture. Whereas if you wait till December, not only are all my contractor friends busy right now, because everybody needs that tile job before they have Aunt Lewis over for Christmas, but not only are you busy, but you're thinking about your own holiday and your own time off and your own family. So get into the habit of doing this in bite-sized chunks, and Drake and I will hold you accountable. And then on the 4th of January, it's actually I think it's a Wednesday, Drake on the 4th of January, Drake, myself, and Grant Cancius, my partner with HappyTileGuy.com, are going to be doing a webinar that will be on Zoom. And that way we're going to help you get started on the right foot for your entire year of 2023. We're going to talk about planning. We're going to help you set some tools up. We're going to answer any questions that you have. And I'm really excited about that. So I wanted to plug it here. And if you're interested and you don't want to miss that, just text the word TileMoney to 844-446-7623. We will text you as we get closer and make sure you are registered for that webinar. It's a free webinar. Everybody gets to come and ask questions of the three of us and have a group discussion. It's going to be about 90 minutes or so, however long it kind of needs to be, but I expect about 90 minutes. So you'll hear from Drake and myself and Grant, and we're going to kind of holistically look at setting some goals in 2023 and, how to not only set them, but meet those goals. So I'm really excited for this one on January 4th.
And if you're listening to this going, I don't know if I can make time for this kind of stuff. These are divider events that separate you from your competition. Your competition, I'll tell you this, is not doing this. Mm-hmm. They're not thinking about this stuff. They're not trying to get better. And so for you to take that leg up, take advantage of these opportunities. This is a free event, man. You can charge good money for this kind of stuff. People go speak at big casinos and all things like that all across the country. Like, this is a free resource that you can gain a lot of insight from, but ultimately it comes down to you having the discipline to actually do it. Yeah, that's your divider. So if you can go do that, you're going to be successful. But the beauty is you can choose. You can choose to do it or not. So make the choice to go to things like this to get better. I promise you we'll provide it with tons of value there. You guys are going to learn a bunch, and I'm really excited for it, man. This is why I got into business. This is the stuff I like to do. Everybody always goes, Drake, you're not like a normal CPA. I'm like, good. That's the point. It's like, dude, I got long hair and I like to talk business. Like, that's what I enjoy to do. And so come to this, guys. We'd love to talk to you, answer questions, but then just provide you some guidance on a roadmap for this next year. Because if you know what would be awesome, Luke, is to hear some guys next year going, man, I listened to that. This is what we ended up doing. It blew up. Things went really smooth. We made the most money we've ever have. So if you hear this a year later, or you come to this event and you guys learn from some of that, stay in contact with us, man. You want to talk about something awesome for us to hear is hearing some like testimonials that way. Oh, that would be like the best Christmas present I could get. So
absolutely. Well, I can tell you, and I'll have to screenshot and share them with you, Drake, but I've had several people from the mastermind, because you've been in the mastermind several times already in the past few months, and the help you're giving, people are putting it into practice, and even in a short amount of time, they're seeing results. So it is helping a lot, and that's why both of us are engaged in this work and passionate about it. But I understand, contractors, tile friends, if you're busy and you just want somebody to help you with this, don't be afraid to reach out to Drake Vent Hall. He's got a free 30-minute consultation. He'll kind of look at your business and talk about some of your goals and see if you're a good fit for working together beyond the free information we can provide here every Wednesday. And again, Drake, thanks for sponsoring this spot of the TileMoney, Hump Day Financials on Wednesdays. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you too, man. Thanks.
All right, tile friends, talk to you next